So we were solving this question. So now the next date of bill is 13th July and the time period is 30 days. So in July there are total 31 days. Out of these 31 days we can subtract 13 days because the bill has been written on 13th July. That will not be included. So 31 minus 3 will be 28, then minus 10, 18 days of July, and then we need 12 more days. So 12 days will be in August. So we will reach to 12th August. Now I will be adding 3 days of grace: 13th August, 14th August, and 15th August. So 15th August will be the due date, but 15th August is there again a national holiday. So that's why the due date will be 14th August 2016. Now 31st May 2016, and we have to count 1 month. So 31st June, but June is of only 30 days. So that's why the month will be getting finished on 30th June itself. So 30th June, and then I will be counting 3 days: 1st July, 2nd July, and 3rd July. So the due date will be 3rd July. 3rd July 2016. So we have practiced how to calculate the due dates. Now coming to the next portion. Now there are various types of bills of exchange, and there are certain technical terms, so that we need to understand what is the meaning of these terms. First type of bill is bill at sight. So the expression at sight, or sometimes it is used as on presentation, means payable on demand. Whenever the bill will be presented to someone who is liable to make the payment, that person has to make payment at that time. And the best example of it is check. The best example of it is check. Whenever you will present the check to the bank has to make the payment. Now, bills payable on demand becomes due as soon as the bill is presented for payment. So whenever it will be presented for payment, the bill will automatically become due. Such bills are not entitled to days of grace, because suppose if you will go to bank that give me the payment of this check, bank will not say that you need to wait for 3 days. Obviously, if the check needs clearing, that is another matter, but it is not having a rule of days of grace. If it can be paid in cash immediately, it is a bearer check, it will be paid immediately in cash. If no time for payment is mentioned in the bill, it is payable on demand. Then how you will be recognizing that this bill is payable on demand or this bill is at sight? Then if no time period is mentioned on that document, on that bill of exchange, then it will be automatically payable on demand. Now coming to the next type, that is bill after date. So bill after date means that where a bill is payable at a fixed period after date, as we have calculated in these cases. These all are actually bill after date. The period begins to run from the date of drawing the bill. 3 days of grace are allowed on such bills. So in these bills, you will be adding 3 days of grace. So for example, a bill of exchange dated 1st January 15 is payable 2 months after date. So that date will be calculated in the same manner. Now, see, we have written the bill on 1st January. It is having a time period of 2 months. Now, from which date to count these 2 months? Because we have written the bill on 1st January, but the person who needs to give acceptance on this bill has given acceptance on 15th January. So 2 months will be counted from 1st January or from 15th January. That is the question. So 2 months will be counted from the date of drawing the bill. That is from 1st January. Then next type of bill is bill after sight. So in bill after date and bill after sight, the difference is only that here you are counting time from date of drawing of the bill, and here you will be counting the time after the date of acceptance. The expression after sight in a bill of exchange means after accepting. After accepting, you have to give this much time. The period begins to run from the date of acceptance. 3 days of grace are allowed on such bills also. So that's why in this example, the period will be counted from 15th of January. This is the only difference between bill after date and bill after sight. And if question is silent about the type of the bill, then it will be treated always as bill after date, as we were doing in the question. Here nothing is given regarding bill when accepted. So these all are bill after date. Now coming to the accounting treatment of bills of exchange, that we have to practically learn how to make accounting of bills of exchange. So first thing which you need to understand, for the purpose of accounting, bills are divided into two categories. See, obviously for one person it will become bills receivable, and for another person it will become bills payable. Different uses of bills receivable. What uses a drawer can make of the bills receivable? Suppose he has written a document, he has written a draft, then that draft has been accepted by the drawee, and the moment he will be accepting it, it will become bills of exchange. Now the first use is that after acceptance, the drawer can keep this bill with him till the maturity date, and on the maturity date, he can ask the drawee to make the payment. So first option is drawer may keep it till the date of maturity. Then second use of the bill of exchange is that drawer, after getting acceptance on that bill, may go to his banker and he can give this bill of exchange to the banker that after 2 months or after 3 months, after 1 month, I will be getting this payment. So you just keep this bill with you and just give me cash against this bill of exchange. So banker will deduct some charges, some interest charges on that. That is called discounting charges, and the rest of the amount will be handed over to the drawer. So drawer will get cash in exchange of that bill of exchange. And on the due date, the banker will present that bill of exchange to the drawee, and drawee will be paying the amount. Drawer may endorse it. Now, drawer also may be having some creditors. He might also be purchasing goods on credit. So drawer may also transfer that bill of exchange to his creditors. So he may endorse it to some other party before the date of maturity. That is called endorsement. Now, sometimes what happen, businessman is a very busy person in lot of transactions, in lot of things. He has to manage cash, he has to manage stock, he has to manage the borrowings, capital, then many rules and regulations, GST returns, GST calculations. Lot of things are to be done in the business. So he might be having shortage of time, and he might forget also that on which bill what due date is there. That's why how to present that bill. So a lot of things has to be planned. So what he will be doing right now, he can just give it bill and give that bill to the banker again. But now the intention is not getting money in exchange of that bill of exchange immediately. He will be saying to his banker that keep this bill with you, and from on my behalf present this bill to the drawee on its due date, and then collect the payment and deposit that payment in my account. So he may send it to his banker for collection also. So these are the four uses which the drawer can make for a bills receivable. Now, first case, see, we have to run journal entries for all these four cases. In all these four cases, how the journal entries will be done, that we have to learn. Now, I will first request that you all please be ready with your registers. Now, see, first transaction in case of bills of exchange will be what? Yesterday, we also discussed that transaction. That first transaction will be credit sale of goods. So here, these are on the left side page, these are the books of seller. And on the right hand side, these are the books of purchaser or your customer. That's why we have used two pages, because sometimes, most of the times, question will be asking you journal entries in books of accounts of both of the parties, the seller as well as the purchaser. So you should be knowing and understanding the transactions from the point of view of both. So now the first transaction will be what actually? Credit sales of goods. First transaction will be credit sales of goods. So now we are assuming that X is the seller and Y is the customer. Y is the purchaser. So means these are the books of accounts of X. These are the books of accounts of X. And these are the books of accounts of Y. So when I am recording transactions in the books of accounts of X, I will be thinking from the point of view of X only. And when I will be recording the transaction in books of accounts of Y, then I will be thinking from the point of view of Y only. Means simply when I'm writing transaction here, or if I'm writing journal entry here, I will become X. And when I'm writing journal entry here, then at that time I will become Y. Now I have stated that first transaction is credit sales of goods. Now you please all become Y and just try to think from the point of view of Y that if I am saying that X has sold goods to Y, then what Y is doing, or from the point of view of Y, what will be this transaction stated? How you will be stating this transaction from the point of view of Y? Yes, very good, very good. Obviously, when X is selling goods to Y, Y is purchasing goods from X. So what Y will be stating for this transaction? Y will be saying goods purchased from X, and X will be saying goods sold to Y. I hope it's clear. Goods sold to Y. Now X will be recording this transaction. So what will be the journal entry? X will be recording here. What journal entry X will be recording here? Goods sold to Y. Obviously, Y is a personal account. Y debit. To sales account. Y debit to sales account. This will be the journal entry which X will be recording in his books of accounts. Now coming to the books of Y. And Y is saying for his transaction that I have purchased goods from X. So now he will be recording a purchase transaction in his books of account. Purchase account debit. Yes, very good. Purchase account debit to X. Purchase account debit to X. Also, so this is the first transaction X and Y will be recording. Y is purchasing goods from X, that's why he will be recording purchase account debit to X. And X is selling goods to Y, that's why X will be recording Y debit to sales account. I hope this transaction is clear to each and everyone. Now coming to the another transaction. Another transaction is now what will happen when the credit sale of goods has been done. Now X needs assurance that he will be receiving payment because he is selling goods on credit to Y. He needs an assurance from Y that I will be receiving the payment on such and such date. So then what practically will be done? X will be writing a draft. And because it is a non-financial transaction, that's why there will be no journal entry for writing a draft. Then after writing that draft, X will present that bill to Y for acceptance, and Y will sign it and write the words accepted there for agreement purpose. Then that document will become legal document, and that will be becoming bills receivable for X and bills payable for Y. So now a legal document has emerged, and then after signing it, after writing the word acceptance, Y will hand it over back to the drawer, means X. So now X is getting bills receivable. So here bills receivable account will be debited. Bills receivable account debit, and who is giving this bills receivable? Y is giving this bills receivable to Y. Credit the giver. So this way you can check that Y has been suppose debited with rupees 100, and now Y has been credited with rupees 100. So now his account has become nil. We have got an asset of rupees 100 for which we will be receiving cash in future. Now same way, what Y will say it, Y see X will say that I have received a bill of receivable from Y, and he will be saying that I have given a bill payable to X. I have given a bills payable to X. So X is the receiver, X debit, and because bills payable is a personal account, it is its liability. That's why that account will be credited to bills payable account. To bills payable account. So bills receivable account debit to Y and X debit to bills payable account. So here X is getting an asset for which he will be receiving a cash in future, and Y is getting a liability. Remember, bills receivable account and bills payable account are personal account, representative personal account. Okay. Now coming for the third part. What will happen now? Suppose this bill has been written for 2 months. Then after receiving this bill, X has kept that bill in his locker for 2 months. And now when the due date has come, what will happen? X will give this bill to Y. X will present this bill in front of Y for payment, for reminding him that now due date has come and you have to make the payment today. So and Y will be Y will be giving payment of that bill. So practically X will be getting the payment. So now either cash account or bank account debit, cash account or bank account debit to bills receivable. And when he will receive the payment, obviously that bills receivable will be given to Y, to bills receivable account. So you will receive 100 rupees cash. Now here in books of Y, what will happen? Y is receiving that bills receivable, bills payable. Y is receiving, because for Y that same document will be bills payable. Y is receiving the same document back from X, and he is paying cash. That's why his liability will get finished. Bills payable account debit, bills payable account debit to cash account or to bank account, to cash account. So Y has purchased goods of rupees 100 from X, then a bill of rupees 100 has been accepted, and then you have received cash and Y has received bills payable. To cash account. Cash is a real account, credit what goes out. So this way the journal entries will be done. If any confusion is there, if any query is there, you can ask. Now see the question number 3. On 1st January 2019, X sold goods to Y for rupees 50,000. Now X is selling goods to Y for rupees 50,000. So in the books of X, you will be recording Y debit to sales account and the amount will be 50,000. It will not come here. So you will be writing amount here 50,000. So instead of writing 100, you will be writing here 50,000. Then on the same date, X draws a bill on Y for rupees 50,000. So bills receivable account debit to Y. So these are the transactions which you have to identify in the question. First transaction was X sold goods to Y. I recorded in the books of X goods sold to Y. I will record in the books of X purchased goods from X. Then on the same date, X will draw a bill on Y for rupees 50,000 due after 3 months. Y accepted the bill and returned it to X. So then after reading this transaction, you should be doing the entry bills receivable account debit to Y. And for Y, you will be recording X debit to bills payable account. And the amount will also remain 50,000. Now, X retained the bill till the due date. So it is clearly stating that X has not given this bill either to his banker or to his creditor or to any other person. He has kept that bill with himself only. So he will be entitled to get the payment on the due date of the bill. And he will be responsible for presenting the bill. So X retained the bill till the due date and Y matched the bill on the due date. So on the due date, the bill will be presented and X will receive the payment. So cash account debit to bills, receivable account, and because Y is paying at the same time, he will be doing entry bill receivable account debit to cash account. Pass journal entries and prepare necessary ledger accounts in the books of both of the parties. So ledger account you don't need to prepare right now. You can practice them in the evening. You all know how to do ledger posting. Which accounts you will be preparing? Y ledger account, sales, bills receivable, and cash. 4 accounts you will be preparing in the books of X. Y, sales, bills receivable, and cash. Then in the same manner, in the books of Y, you will be preparing purchase account, X, bills payable, and cash. So these 4 accounts you will be preparing. And journal entries, I have shown you how to pass journal entries. So this is all about today. If you have any query, you can ask.